And we're live. And I wanted to just pretty much speak about kind of related to my last video, what happened technically after my daughter got diagnosed, because yeah, like it's what really happened after that made it so crazy. I honestly don't have an agenda for any of the times I do these videos because I do want it to be more of the raw feeling. But if I jump around, stay with me. It'll make sense at the end. But for starters, so again, my daughter got diagnosed. She had her surgery that day, and then that following Monday, we started chemo. And for those who don't know, chemo is a liquid. Like, I know that might sound dumb to some, but like, again, to me, like, I was like, what do you mean by that? So what it is you pretty much, actually, let me backtrack. The surgery that my daughter had was to get a catheter port. What a catheter port is, it's literally like a little circle device, and it's attached to one of your veins. So you don't have to no longer get IVs, you just poke the port and it goes directly to you. Versus needles all the time. Like when I tell you would have like, Kalani, there was times that Kalani would have chemo for like a whole week at a time, like 5 days straight. So obviously we don't want to hurt veins, so the port is the best way to go. And so what they do is pretty much poke the port. There's, again, it's a little device, so they poke the port and then they give you the chemo. And again, chemo is like a liquid, it's like a little medicine. There's a million type of chemos. Kalani received maybe like 5 or 6 different type of chemos during her treatments. Kalani's had so many. I mean, I think we started off maybe once a week. We were going into hospital to get chemo, and then it got more intense. So then we were doing 5 days straight. She would be off for 5 days, and then she would have to come get a shot on the 3rd week, and then we would start a lower 5 days chemo, 1 week off, and then a shot. Though that wasn't how it went. She had 5 days of chemo. The following week, on 2nd day, she was sick. She would get fevers, and so we'd be admitted to a fever. When you're going through chemo, a fever, it's an automatic 48-hour admission. So we would be in the hospital by like, I think it was Tuesdays. Yeah, because she would have the last chemo Friday. She'll have a Saturday, Sunday, Monday, and then by Tuesday, so day 3, 4, it's always at night. We would go to the hospital, we would get admitted for 2 days, and then we would be back on Monday for her to get a shot, and then start again the following week. So we were in the hospital a lot. But again, starting off, we started once it would be a whole day type of thing. I think chemo usually would start around 8, but we weren't leaving till like, I think, yeah, it was like around 3. It was honestly like a full hour of work, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, we were there all day, and as a 2-year-old, to get them to sit on a bed hooked on is extremely hard. So the safest for her age group was to keep her on that bed. And I mean, we can watch movies all day. I don't know how many movies we watch. Obviously, they're kid movies, so we watched a million. There is like, they have a bunch of toys. Child's Life, amazing. If you guys ever see any, like, donate to Child Life, please do. Because they're just like angels. Like, they come and play with your kid. So while they're getting chemo, like, they'll bring them toys and they'll distract them and teach them healthy ways how to deal with it. And at the time, I didn't really know Child Life too much. But Kalani was little, sometimes she would nap, and that was like the best scenario, which was rare, but sometimes they'll bring her a tablet and she'll play with it. But of course, the best, her favorite part to get was my phone. And as a person that I'm also sitting there for all these hours, I did decide to give Kalani one of my old iPhones. And I know kids that age shouldn't have a phone, but I really do think my child was different. Another thing about Kalani is Kalani's an outside baby. Like, Kalani would live outside till this day. She has never been an iPad baby since I even gave her the phone. She's always been like, I want to be outside. Like, Kalani is a Southern, she was not born in the South, but she is a Southern kid. Like, she would be outside all day playing in the dirt if she could. So yeah, Kalani is just an outside baby. So to have her inside, and it's like, okay, well now, like, play on this phone, watch this movie, like, it was really hard. And I know people don't mean wrong, but I did get a lot of judgment for giving Kalani a phone at that age. And that is completely fine because y'all were not in my shoes. You know, y'all didn't know how it was to have a toddler sit in a chair for like 8 to 10 hours a day. I don't think we would have made the chemo without her having a phone. And so, I mean, it was great. Like, it wasn't great. Who am I kidding? We would sit there for hours and they would feed us, obviously. But even though the food was, don't get me wrong, it grew on me. It took some time for me to really appreciate hospital food. But it was just a lot. Like, I don't even know how to explain it because, like, I couldn't even cook technically because I'd be at the hospital all day. And the thing about chemo was we do chemo and then we would come home and I still have to kind of deal with, I mean, not in a bad way, but I still have to deal with Kalani being sick. It's not like you do this and then you clock out. I wasn't clocking out. And I'm coming home and now Kalani's hungry again and I would feed Kalani. And the thing about chemo is it can make you really sick. Let me backtrack a little bit because chemo does not take 10 hours to, like, for them to give you. Like, it's literally a quick, not shot, but like a quick put it in your port. The only thing is Kalani was so tiny. They had to hydrate her because it does take a lot from you. And so that would take like 3 hours of hydration and then the chemo and another like 3 hours of hydration. But there was times that some days were better than others, and there's that. And so it sucked, man. Like, again, coming home, I know it's gonna sound crazy, but like there was times I didn't even want to come home because I knew it would get worse when we would go home. Because even if I kid y'all not, like, this medicine stuff, like, I mean, Kalani also had high blood pressure when she was that little, so she had to take high blood pressure. She had to take Zofran for her not to get sick. There was another like medicine that was so she didn't get pneumonia because her immune system was so weak. I can't even remember. I remember there being a total of 8. They all did something different, but you had to literally give this medicine on the dot. It is no like, oh, you know, we're like, I'll give it to her in like the next 5 minutes. No, I'm telling y'all, if she was not swallowing by the time it would take a whole toll. Like, it was so crazy. Like, I've never experienced something like that. But for example, Zofran, and so it doesn't make you sick, it doesn't make you throw up. In the beginning, I'm so overwhelmed, like, to know what medicine to give, because I'm like, what if I give her the wrong one and then I like kill her, you know? And so when I was giving her that, it was very terrifying, and it was crazy because I was like, how y'all trusting me with her? But I'm like, this is my kid. Like, oh my God, like, where my mama at? You know, like, I grew up a lot, like, doing all that. But I think, like, as a Zofran, I would give it to her. I don't know exactly the time. It was every like 4 hours or something after chemo. But the hospital would give it to her at an exact time. And then I would have to do like 4 hours after that or something. One time, Kalani was asleep. And I was like, you know what, she's fine. I'll give it to her when she wakes up. I didn't know the depth of you need to give it on time. And so Kalani woke up, I throw up everywhere. I was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. So I give her the medicine, but now it's taking time to kick in. And it sucked because, like, not the throw up itself, but like, again, I started realizing the hard way, like, if you're a minute late, this poor thing's gonna throw up. And I mean, I hated throwing up when I was pregnant, so to watch my little baby throw up sucked. It was even little things. So like, Kalani was already potty trained, but we had to reverse that. And the reason for that is, even though Kalani was potty trained, she still doesn't fully know how to wipe herself yet. And even if she did, like, she would have to wear gloves to wipe herself. You can't teach a kid, like, put on a glove before you wipe yourself. So we did have to put her back on diapers. And so the thing about it is, when she's peeing, chemo's still coming out. And the chemo can be so toxic, it can make you super sick. So what they do, we put Kalani back on diapers, and every single time I had to change her, I had to wear, like, gloves. Like those, like, rubber medical gloves. And like, it's so sad, you know, like, as a mom, I never appreciated changing diapers, but the fact that you feel like you have to even protect yourself from your kid, it's like, this is my kid, like I could do, you know. But yeah, so like I had to wear gloves to change her diapers. I had to, like, if she threw up, like, it is now like a hazard. You know, I have to clean it, I have to get gloves. I can't just clean it, I can't have her touch it. At the time, we had a dog that I kind of had to give away because dogs would go, and I needed like 100% attention on Kalani, like medicine on time, like, again, diaper changes now on time. And then it was so hard to switch some, like, once a kid is potty trained, they're potty trained, and it's so hard to explain to them, I'm putting you back on a diaper because now I'm a big kid, I don't need this. And so that was really hard to switch her back. But even like while sitting in chemo, like, she'd be connected, and to take her to the bathroom was like, okay, you know, let's get the nurse to unplug this and walk, be careful, don't not to rub on anything, and now let's go to the bathroom, and you're still little, I still kind of have to help you, but now we have all these cords everywhere. And so it is really sad. And actually, I don't think I really thought about like how bad that was until I'm like expressing it now, because I won't say I worked really hard on potty training, but it is such a thing that, like, as a parent, you were very proud of, you know, like, I was proud that Kalani was potty trained, like, right when she, like, turned 2, like, and I think a lot on the daycare, but to take her back and kind of take away her control of herself, and, like, kind of telling her, like, now you have to do things this way, and, like, you're not going to be the same as other kids. And I think it even came down to, like, playing, like, every week we would have to get, I can't even remember all these names right now because now I'm emotional, of course, but like we had to get her numbers, so it was like her blood drawn, and we would tell us how bad, like, I guess how her immune system was. And there was moments where her immune system is super low, and so that meant like more medicine, or that meant certain things, but it also, the biggest part meant like we couldn't go anywhere. And I think that was probably one of like the hardest things to have to go through, where like all your kid wants to do is play, and like right now it's not something you can do, and like to tell them no, like, hey, actually I can't have you go outside and play with everyone else. You can't be around these kids, like, because your immune system is really low, and you can't do certain things that normal kids get to do. And so I feel like even for me it was really hard, because like I couldn't have friends come over, like it was very lonely. I think it was a very lonely time to be like, had to go through that. And that again, like, I can't just have friends come over. Like, there was like a certain amount of people that could, and though it was great, I couldn't have, like, it came to the point that like even if I wanted to go have dinner with a friend and like my mom would watch her for me, or her dad or somebody, I couldn't even do that. And the reason for that is I can't get sick. Like, I can't have someone's immune system be so bad that like I come home and bring it to her. Even though I might not get sick, she might, because of her numbers being so low. And like, I mean, it just came down to like literally the dumbest things would make her sick. Like, one example, and I know it wasn't like on me, it was on me, but it wasn't. Like, we had just moved into this place. Like, there was, I'm telling you, I still had boxes when I found out that Kalani was diagnosed. I had just moved into this place, and I was still technically cleaning it. Like, I was still trying to organize, and you don't realize how much dust happens and stuff. And the blinds that I had in the place, like, I was cleaning them up, and I didn't realize how much dust and how bad it was that like Kalani got sick. And so Kalani got sick, and we got admitted to the hospital, and no one could find out what she had, because it was one of those like 1 in a million, like, you know, infection. And of course, like, she got it, And I always felt so guilty because I always thought, I was like, if I just left the blinds alone, like, I'm a neat freak, so I like needed to make sure that the blinds were clean. And you don't have nothing to do, like, you're literally stuck in a house. You can't use certain chemicals, you can't technically fully clean if you bring up dust and you bring like bacteria, and you can't invite people to come over and hang out with you. And so your only friends, like the only friends you have are these nurses. When I tell y'all, like, I was so angry. And I think I was just angry because, like, I'm watching my friends go on trips, I'm watching my friends go on play dates, and I'm just watching everyone, like, live their life so happily. And as someone that I couldn't even leave my house, like, I think COVID, but like, you can't even invite people over, and like, you can't even clean, or you can't even bond with people. So it's a very lonely, like, experience for me personally. And I mean, don't get me wrong, like, my mom was there, you know, my mom would come hang out with us, and me and my mom got super close. Like, me and my mom have always been close, but like, my mom, like, she kind of quit working, like, to help me and be with, like, my daughter and I, like, because, again, if my mom goes to work and then she catches something, like, being outside, and she didn't want to bring it to my daughter, and so she did stop working for a while, or we would take COVID tests like crazy to make sure no one was sick. And I mean, there's just so many movies you can watch. And so again, these nurses were like amazing, and they were there, and they became such good friends. And like, again, I would always be so thankful for everyone that like joined the journey with us, because it's just, man, it's rough. Like, it is so rough. And to me, that's why when I see someone that goes through like cancer, and like, as a kid, it's like, oh my god, like, again, like, I kid y'all not, Kalani was that 1 in a million that would catch every single little thing, and it was just sad. And so yeah, it was rough. Like, it was so rough, I can't even explain it. Like, I let myself go really, really bad. Like, I started gaining weight because all you could do is eat and watch movies. I started gaining a lot of weight. I started becoming very unhappy with myself. I think I got very depressed, and I didn't eat for 2 days. And it just so happened that I don't know, I don't remember really what happened, but like, I think we were gonna watch a movie or something, and so I had came to my living room, and when I came to the living room, I realized that Kalani was standing there. I did have like the door like cracked open. I never leave the door cracked open. That was gone. Like, that was like, leave the door open, like, you're gonna need it. I think I was like playing with Kalani, something was happening, and I don't remember really what happened. I just remember not feeling so well, and then I remember I couldn't hear. Like, I just remember saying, like, kind of getting dizzy in a way. My first instinct was just like, sit down. And so like, I sat down, and then I don't remember anything. So what really happened though was, I mean, that's what happened to me in my eyes, but I ended up fainting because I had gone days without eating. Luckily enough, Kalani was smart enough to know that like, my neighbors were here. Luckily enough, like, I kid you not, everything was so lined up. Like, my neighbors were just leaving, like, they were going somewhere. Kalani started crying, and they came, and I was up and better. Then they fed me, and I was great. But like, that's when I realized, like, you really do have to take care of yourself to be able to take care of someone else. And when they say in the plane, like, you know, put your mask on before you do put someone else's, it's true. Because I always thought everything was on Kalani, and I was the last. But then after that incident, I realized, like, I have to put myself first, because if I'm not good, Kalani won't be good. It was very overwhelming. And though everyone was telling me to pray, I didn't want to. I was just like, in my head, the way I was looking at it, I was like, God, you put me in this situation. Like, why did you do this to me? Like, why are you coming after me? Like, what did I do? I don't know if there's anything in life that I could have done to deserve this. And why are you here? Like, because again, I knew God was there the whole time. But like, I was very like, get away. Like, don't come to me because you put me in this situation. Now you're trying to help me. And like, I know people are like, when I say this, it might not make sense, but those who have had kids, and this is just an example, and obviously everyone has different birth stories, but my birth story, for example, my baby dad was there, and when I tell y'all, there was not a person I hated the most when I was pushing other than my baby dad. And like, it was nothing he did wrong. I was just like, you put me in this situation, I'm pushing a child out of me, I'm in so much pain. But like, and it was even to the point that he's like, it's okay, like, you're trying to calm me down. I didn't want to hear it. I was like, do not talk, like I will slap you right now. But at the moment, you're just trying to push and like bring this baby out. I think I wanted to murder that man when I realized I was pushing, because I was in so much pain. I'm like, why can't you push, you know? But obviously women are the ones that have the babies. But at the time I was just like, can we switch? Like, you should feel this pain because you did it too. This isn't a one-way street, you know? And so that's the best way to explain it. So like, when you're like, again, he was trying to, you know, do like, hey, it's okay, like, you know, just breathe. And I'm like, shut up, like, you put me in this situation, like, stop talking, now you can't help me, like, help me then, push. I don't know what to tell you. And I think, again, that is the best way I can kind of explain the feeling that I had with God, because I feel like God was trying to calm me down, like, hey, it's gonna be okay, like, I'm gonna be here along with you. But in my head, I wasn't looking at it like that. I was like, get out of my face, because you put me in this situation, so I don't want nothing to do with you right now. But he did get me through it, and he did like stay with me, and he never left my sight, though I wanted him to. And that speaks so much volume, like, that God literally never left me, and he could have, but he didn't, like, and he was with me the whole time. Like, I kid y'all not, like, I knew that man was holding my hand the whole time, because there was moments where I was like, what do you do? And I think as a parent, something happens to your kid, you don't know what to do, and like, you feel like useless in a way. Like, as much as you want to help, you can't help. I'm just so grateful for like prayers and what God really can do, because I'm telling y'all, like, he got me through it. Like, we still have moments, you know, Kalani still has to go to the hospital sometimes, and she'll probably have to go to the hospital for the rest of her life. But the thing is, no matter what, God was there. No matter what, God will continue to stay there, and he definitely showed out. But yeah, it was a time. I remember the doctors one time, like, this is how serious it was. Like, y'all know how like a lot of people did pass away with like COVID, because their immune systems weren't like there, because they had a sickness. This, like, COVID would have took out Kalani so fast. So there was moments where we did have to give her breaks from chemo, which were nice breaks for me, but at the same time we still had to go to the hospital. She just wasn't receiving chemo. And so yeah, the thought of like, hey, like, COVID could have really took my daughter out. Like, I was so terrified, and that's also why I was like, no one step a foot in my house. Like, Lysol everything as soon as I got it, because I couldn't, you know. So it was a really hard time, and I'm so thankful that God did get us through it. And though at the time I didn't understand, and at the time I didn't want nothing to do with him, I do appreciate him for being there, and like, that love that he had for us is crazy. Like, because I just never, it was a lot, you know. And so other people that he put in our lives at the time were just amazing. So I don't want to like make this too long, but I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Clearly I'm just probably gonna just get emotional during these videos because it's hard, but thank you for watching. Please subscribe, follow me on my social medias. Again, if you want to join my TikTok, that is where I have a lot of videos, and they were during that time when it was happening. Kalani got like TikTok famous out of nowhere. But go ahead and watch those, and thank you guys all so much for your support. You guys have an amazing day. Bye.